Hello and welcome to Tell the People, a program about our Catholic faith with news and information in and around the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette. I'm Stephanie Bernard. In today's show, Trista Littell has an interview with Faye Drobnik about the upcoming changes in the Roman Missal. Father Michael Champine's talk is about the commandments in the segment, What It Means to Be Catholic. And in a conversation with Bishop Michael Gerald, Monsignor Richard Green interviews Bishop Gerald about end-of-life issues. And now, Catholic news on this October 30th weekend. For married couples, demands of children, work, and family can make it seem nearly impossible to carve out time for yourselves. On Friday, November 4th, from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Petroleum Club, located at 111 Hyman Boulevard in Lafayette, the two of you can rest and revitalize with a candlelight dinner and a guest speaker who knows how to help couples snatch closeness when it seems near impossible. Our time together, a revitalizing couples night, is the theme for our couples date night. Dr. Catherine Elliott, couple therapist and counselor educator with 25 years of experience, will be the speaker, highlighting growing pains, those early adjustments in marriage, how to navigate them smoothly. The Lafayette Diocesan Office of Radio and TV Ministry announces, with the upcoming changes to the Roman Missal, Tell the People will be preempted by a special series highlighting these changes. This three-part series will air on November 6th, 13th, and 20th on KATC TV3 at 11 a.m. All area Catholics who are unable to attend one of the regional Roman Missal workshops held during the month of September with Monsignor Keith Derwin are encouraged to tune in for the special series. The implementation of the third edition of the Roman Missal will occur in all Catholic churches on November 27th, the first Sunday in Advent. Additional viewing times for Tell the People and the Roman Missal series will be offered on AOC, KDCG TV 22, KSIG Radio, and KVPI Radio. For specific airing dates and time, please refer to the programming schedules available on the station websites. The West Region of the Lafayette Diocese will hold its annual Celebrate Youth event from 10:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 12th. This year's hosting church parish will be St. Leo Church in Roberts Cove. The day will include free food, drinks, music, and games for all. Celebrate Youth is for young people in grades 6 through 12. Registration is limited to the first 300 participants, and further details may be requested by contacting Eva Cormier at 783-7394. Damon Owens, founder of Joy Filled Marriage in New Jersey, a nonprofit organization providing training, resources, and support for engaged and married couples, will be the 2011 African American Catholic Youth Congress keynote speaker. The Youth Congress is scheduled for Saturday, November 19th at St. Thomas More Catholic High School from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The cost of registration is $35 if paid before November 4th. This includes lunch, t-shirt, and other Congress memorabilia. Registrations received after November 4th is $40 and does not include lunch or Congress t-shirt. Coming up next, Trista Littell has an interview with Faye Drobnik about the changes in the new Roman Missal.
Welcome to Inside the Diocese, the interview segment of Tell the People. I'm Trista Littell, and with me here today we have Faye Drobnik. Faye is the assistant to the director of the Office of Worship for the Diocese of Lafayette. Welcome, Faye.
Thank you, Trista. I'm happy to be here.
You're going to be talking to us today about some changes to the Roman Catholic Mass. What is this all about?
Yes, the change that is coming to the Roman Catholic Mass will be a change in the words that we use to celebrate Mass. On the first Sunday of Advent, that's November 27th, 2011, all of the Catholic churches in the United States will begin using the third edition of the Roman Missal. This is a new edition of the Roman Missal. The Roman Missal is the red book that the priest uses on the altar to celebrate Mass. We call it the sacramentary today. There is a new translation coming of this Missal, and all of the Catholic churches throughout the United States will be using this translation. About 10 years ago, the Roman Missal was revised in Latin, and it's taken 10 years to prepare the translation, the English translation, that we will begin using this Advent.
Well, Faye, why a new edition of the Roman Missal? Was there something wrong with the sacramentary that was used prior to this?
No, there was nothing wrong with the sacramentary that we're using right now. But over the past 30 or 40 years, a lot of things have changed in the Church. Our sacramentary dates back to the 1970s. And since that time, we've had a number of new saints to be canonized. We also have some new devotional days that we've begun to celebrate. Feast days like Our Lady of Guadalupe, Our Lady of Fatima, Divine Mercy Sunday. We need new masses to celebrate these saints and feast days. Also, over the past years, some new Eucharistic prayers have been written. We need to add those to our Missal. So because of all these developments over the years, it was time to revise the sacramentary that we have right now. That revision was done 10 years ago. And so now it's time for us to translate it. It's taken all this time to translate it to English. So now we're ready to put it into effect.
Well, what other changes are going to be made or other changes to the new Missal, Faye?
Well, there will be changes in the translation of all of the parts of the Mass. This new translation will be much closer to the original Latin text of the Mass. Our prayers will be a little more formal. The language will be a little more poetic. Sometimes the structure of the prayers will be a little different from what we're used to. It's good for us to all keep in mind that we are the Roman Catholic Church, and as such, the official language of our church is Latin. So all of our prayers, all of our ritual celebrations, these texts are all written first in Latin. And then after they're written in Latin, they're translated into all the other languages of the world. The new prayer text that we'll begin using this Advent will be much closer to the original Latin prayer texts than are the texts that we're using right now.
But they will be in English.
Oh, yes, and that's a very important point for us to keep in mind. This is not at all about going back to Latin when we celebrate Mass. This change is about the new English translation of the Mass, and it will all be in English.
What other changes can we expect to this new translation, Faye?
Well, I'll give you one example. One example that's probably one of the first things that people will notice. When we celebrate Mass right now and we begin our Mass, our priest greets us and he says, "The Lord be with you." And we reply, "And also with you." This is going to change. On the first Sunday of Advent, when the priest greets us and says, "The Lord be with you," we will respond, "And with your spirit." Now, some people will wonder, why are we saying, "And with your spirit"? Well, this is the original Latin. This response The Lord be with you and with your spirit. This response goes back to the early centuries of the Catholic Church. It goes back to our earliest roots. The Latin Mass has always said, and with your spirit. We changed it in the United States in the 1970s, and now we're simply going back to the original.
I think I remember when we would say, and with your spirit. What other
Yes.
changes will we notice, Faye?
Well, we'll notice a change in the musical settings of the Mass. The new English words to the Gloria and to the Holy and to the memorial acclamations, those words are going to be a little different. And so we need new music to fit those words. The new words won't fit with the old music. So our musicians in all of our parishes have been working all this year looking at new Mass settings and making choices about which musical setting would be best for their parish. And so on the first Sunday of Advent, we'll be hearing new music for our Masses. Now, some of our parishes have already started singing some of those new Mass settings. We do have permission from our bishops to sing the new Mass settings. This started in September. So some of our parishes may already be experiencing this.
Well, everyone's going to have to get prepared for the new changes that are being made. We certainly do want to thank you for being with us today, Faye, and everyone will look forward to these changes, so thank you.
Thank you, Trista.
And thank you, folks. Stay tuned. There's more on Tell the People.
Coming up next, Father Michael Champine's talk is about the commandments in the segment, What It Means to be Catholic.
Good morning, and welcome to What It Means to be Catholic. If you're just joining us, we're treating the 10 Commandments, and we're going through each of the commandments in particular, looking at some of our responsibilities with regard to each of those commandments. And last time we began the 4th commandment, which we mentioned then as an introduction, that the 4th commandment is the first commandment that has something to do with our neighbor. It begins the delineation of that second tablet of the great 10 commandments, which have to do with love of neighbor. The first 3, of course, with love of God, the first 3 commandments, and then beginning 4th commandment to the 10th commandment have to do with our neighbor. And it began, as we saw last time, it begins with coming into this world. That because of God creating us, and then our parents, mom and dad, participating in bringing us into this world, we owe mom and dad honor and respect. And until we reach the age of majority, until we're emancipated, or as long as we're under their roof, we owe them obedience for legitimate commands. So this is that 4th commandment, and Paul says in the epistle to the Ephesians that this is the first commandment with a promise. And that promise we looked at last time has both spiritual and natural ramifications, fruits, if you will, by living it. And if we don't live it out, then it has both natural and spiritual ramifications, which are negative. And sins, the results of sin. Fruits of the Spirit, fruits of the flesh, as Paul delineates in Galatians chapter 5. We want to look at this time some duties of children to their parents, and of parents to their children, and then, if we have time, look at maybe some of the responsibilities of individual persons to the state or to other legitimate authority. In the Catechism, number 2215, it says respect for parents, and we call that filial piety. The virtue of piety and the gift of piety has to do with regard to first God, you see, and then our parents as a secondary cause of our existence, participating with God and bringing us into this life. Respect for parents, filial piety, derives from gratitude toward those who, by the gift of life coming into existence, their love and their work, the sacrifice that they need, that they exerted to bring them into this world, have brought their children to the world and enabled them to grow in stature with